is a way to do things. There is a BLP way that defines how we behave and what we must do. And my responsibility, yes, is first to the country. To bring greater prosperity, empathy, understanding to Barbadians. My responsibility, secondly, is to the party. To allow the party to get into government so that it can meet the needs of people, that it can create the opportunities and give the place some more oxygen, as we have been doing over the decades, but as we have to do at a time when our quality of life is threatened more than at any time perhaps since independence. But my responsibility is equally to the party to ensure that there is a body of young people who understand what this party stands for, must stand for, is about, and how not only to focus on the substance of our philosophy, but on the manner in which we treat the people and with people, in the manner in which we talk with people. We used to hold a national ecumenical service. This government came in and took it away and said it must only be a Christian service. Now, I'm not going to get into the details of what this is, but suffice it to say that there are Barbadians who are born who practice other religions, starting with Rastafarianism. We used to believe in a process that admits of people having the opportunity to be heard on CBC, on VOB, on any TV. And if there is anything, perhaps we should have ensured that we removed the monopoly. And I regret that we didn't. But that does not give those who are there the excuse to so focus and manage information to prevent other views from being heard in this country that do not accord with those of the government. It doesn't. And I say this to you because, believe you me, the quality of democracy, the quality of life, the kind of Barbados we live in, will be affected by all of these things. I can only hope that many of you accept, therefore, the challenge to recognize that, as Buju said, it's not an easy road. Then who see the glamour and the glitter things with a bed of roses. Not an easy road, but it is a road worth following, because it is a road ultimately that allows us as a country and us as a people to punch above our weight. We never had gold. The little oil that we have is onshore, and hopefully we will get the offshore one, because we did what it took for the government to do it, and they haven't done anything about it. But even before we get to those things, we have had the benefit of recognizing that our genius comes in who we are as a people. So I ask you, as a leader, to embrace these values, to play your role in sharpening the research capacity of the Labour Party, to play your role in sharpening your efforts in going out there and causing people to pause and to think and to understand what is at stake, and don't look back in 5 years and say, yeah, I thought, or don't look back in a year and say, when I voted for them, I thought, or could have been, or I should have. Think first. Understand what matters to you. Understand that we don't get here by serendipity, by accident. It's not a game of Russian roulette. It's not a game of lotto. That, like with a sculpture, we can carve what we want as a people. Like with a blank canvas, we can determine what kind of government, what kind of society, what kind of institutions we want. But it requires that active engagement on the part of all of you. And that is why we are fighting as hard as we are now. Because, as I said at Samson's nomination, and we've become worse since. Sorry, your branch office opened in, not the nomination. The weekend before the last budget in May 2009, Barbados finds itself in a hole. We were then in a 4-foot hole. We're probably now in a 6-foot hole. If we ever reach a 10 or a 20-foot hole, as we are going to need help to get out of that hole. But we can barely pull ourselves up out of a 4 or 6 foot hole. And therefore what happens in this country in the next few months, the next year, is going to be critical in determining our quality of life. The things that you have been able to take for granted. Many of you in here never lived through functionally the 91 to 94 episode. Many of you were children and didn't know the extent to which families had to relocate back home, lost houses, lost jobs. These are the things that we have to fight against. But we can't do it by being divided. We can't do it by having a scattergun approach. We can't do it by sitting back and waiting, man. Come on and do it, man. Akil can do it, man. Carl can do it, man. It requires every person to put their shoulder to the wheel. We can't do it by talking pretty from up here alone. Because you don't win elections by talking pretty. You win elections by building trust. I don't have a Labour Party seat. The person who represented my seat for 10 years before me was a member of the Democratic Labour Party. But don't believe because you see me with a majority of 4 digits that it happened just so. My first foray was a defeat. And in a sense I tell people that it is the best thing that ever happened to me because I understood the value of what it was I was fighting for and the need to preserve it and to represent people as a result of it. And I say this to you, it is easy to become mired in our own internal affairs, but do not forget our responsibility to the Barbadian people. I regret that the Prime Minister is sick. There will be implications for the country, and there will be implications for the Democratic Labour Party. There is likely to be turmoil there, as happens at every time that there are issues like that. But at the end of the day, our duty is to remain faithful to what the Barbados people, the Barbadian population, expects from us as a mature political institution. And I ask those of you who therefore constitute the League of Young Socialist to recognize that you have a critical role to play in helping us stabilize this country and return us to a path of growth and prosperity, but more importantly, to higher heights in terms of rooting our people psychologically and culturally, making them more empathetic, making them more considerate, making them more tolerant, and rooting our people financially so that they have options in life and do not have simply to move at the dictates of the few who control wealth in this country. And if we can do that together, then we will have run a race that was well run, and we would have equaled the legacy of those who went before, who took a country that needed to move to the next stage, accepted the responsibility, spread the message and built the platform on which they were able to move the country to the next stage. I wish that I could say that these last 2 years has led to a gain in the circumstances of Barbados and Barbadians. And all of us know that it hasn't. For whatever reason, it hasn't. But we have a responsibility to stem the bleeding and take the country to that higher place. I ask you to join me in that mission as a member of the Barbados Labour Party.